All right, you guys, it's time to reflect. As we all know, the Philippines and Thailand is pretty much the single man's paradise, right? Along with a few other countries, but the top two are, you know what it is. And the original passport bros were for the soldiers. They created that culture. But then as time got on, people decide they want to travel while they're young before they get old, so they might as well do it now when they're in their 20s or 30s. Plus, everybody's a social media influencer now, right? So it's easier to get to these places. But the real reality of Thailand and pretty much between the adult industry, Buddhism, let's go ahead and check it out and see why it got like this and why it thrives. Let's go.
The World Tourism Organization announced that tourism revenue accounted for 20% of Thailand's entire economy, making it Asia's largest tourism powerhouse. Unfortunately, the people who sustain these glowing figures are involved in activities considered indecent prostitution.
Typical suspect. I mean, they gotta be happy too, right? They want to live out the rest of their retired years, their golden years. So you're gonna really be happy in your golden years too. I mean, what are they supposed to do? Just sit at home and watch TV? Because most people pass away right after retirement, either right before they retire or right after they retire. So the key is to stay active, especially if you have no health issues prior to retiring. So this guy looks nice and healthy. Looks like he likes a few steaks with some fries and everything. Just anyway.
Thailand's sex trade industry has truly managed to expand throughout Asia and reach the entire world. But this country, which developed around the sex industry, has 94.5% of its population practicing Buddhism, a religion that preaches detachment and spiritual purity. In theory, Thai people should be more traditional and conservative. So how did they become so open? In practice, Buddhism in Thailand not only failed to contain excesses, but actually laid the foundation for the country's excessive dependence on the sex industry. Buddhism by nature is quite flexible. I place the teaching here, and each person goes home and interprets it their own way. Those who manage to achieve enlightenment, great. Those who don't, keep trying. And so each people returned to their country and went on meditating in their own way until Buddhism fragmented into 1,000 pieces, with practitioners who kill, who do good, who accumulate wealth, and who indulge in carnal pleasures, promoting a complete structural diversification of the religion, adjusted to the demands of each regional market. Looking at it this way, the Dharma is truly profound. We just don't know what Buddha would think of all this. Traditional. Thai monks didn't remain entirely silent either. After all, having people chanting sutras while engaging in prostitution puts Buddhism in a rather strange situation. But the prevailing logic was that economic development was the way forward, with
Money talks. Money is always going to overpower religion. That's why it's like this. They want Americans, Europeans, and Australians to come over there and spend that money, pimp out that retirement. There's no shame in it.
money in their pockets. People make donations to temples and Buddhism prospers. Who's going to argue with money?
See?
Furthermore, Thai Buddhism not only morally tolerated prostitution, but also socially promoted it, because it is deeply contradictory. It imposes strict rules on women, manual labor, prohibition of education and social advancement, while being lenient with men who drink, gamble, visit prostitutes, and smoke. Even obesity and chronic diseases have become common problems among Thai monks. Buddha...
Did I just hear obesity? And I'm not gonna lie, you could find obese people in these countries. Don't believe just because you're in a third world country doesn't mean you're not gonna see anybody obese or out of shape, whatever you want to call it. You go to these countries, you'll see people just like how they are in your own country, especially here in the West. Like, well, see, it's not too bad where I'm at because everybody's always out. I live in an active community, so everybody's always outside doing something, playing tennis, they're playing golf. So really, I don't see a lot of big people where I'm at. Even if I just head across the bridge to San Francisco, you're not going to see a lot of large people in an expensive place for some reason. San Francisco has a lot of hills. It's a miniature New York with hills. That's all San Francisco is.
preached that all beings are equal, but local reality is otherwise, and so women, in order to survive, were forced to seek income through prostitution. And how did Thai men view the fact that their wives earned money this way? You couldn't say they were ecstatic, but at least they seemed pleasantly surprised.
No.
After fully exploiting their wives' domestic labor, they discovered they could still extract surplus value in another way, something even the boldest capitalists wouldn't have imagined. Thus, still in the age of great navigations, when the rest of the world was exchanging goods.
So that's basically cuckery if you think about it. How would you feel if you was a villager and you exploited your own girlfriend or wife? So basically, everybody out there sharing their girls, basically. So the goal is to pretty much pretend to be in love with you, bring the money back home to the village and live a better life. It's either that or you're so desperately in love with the girl that you're trying to bring her overseas. See, that's why it's slowed down. That's why a lot of people aren't wifing these girls up and taking them back to Europe, America, Australia, because they already know what it is. Because number one, you can't assume that everybody in these countries wants to leave their own home country. Not everybody wants to leave, especially the older ones. They don't want to leave because all their family's there. The only way that some of these women will want to leave the country is if they have family in the country that you're from, or they know that you're going to send for their family later on. Other than that, a lot of these people just want to make money to live a better life, or to even move to the city themselves.
Thailand was already skipping the stages of agriculture and industry and investing directly in the service sector, the tertiary receiving, sailors and foreign merchants, and starting a foreign trade upgrade. I can only say once again, the Dharma is truly profound. In such a patriarchal country, one would expect a vigorous warrior spirit. And indeed, there was such vigor, but limited to women fighting men. On the battlefields where men faced men, Thailand not only retreated, but opened its arms willingly. In modern Asian history, only 3 countries were never completely colonized: China, Japan, and Thailand. At first glance, this seems impressive for the Thais. But while other peoples responded to colonial invasions firmly, saying, "Get out of here," the Thais responded with, "We're already leaving. As long as there's territory to cede, we will never be colonized." And so they began selling and handing over land frantically, a strategy that, in terms of political maneuvering, anticipated by at least 100 years practices we would later see in Europe.
They look so happy though. He looked a little too happy, like he ready to, buy that green card and everything.
How did Thailand, then called Siam, preserve its territory and sovereignty? Quite simply, exactly the way young Thai prostitutes capture their clients. Many pimps advise the girls never to attach themselves to one man, but to work several at the same time to maximize.
See, that's where it gets tricky at. I mean, you can find you a nice piece over there, right in the bar, wherever you meet the girls at, the red light district. The downfall is the typical simp, the typical cuck, the American cuck, the European cuck. The problem is, when these men go back to their home country, they send them money through Western Union or wire transfers to keep them from talking to other guys. But the problem is they're still talking to other guys, and they're extracting guys for money too. Meaning, not only are you the only one talking to her, but you're not the only one sending her money too. So it's like pretty much survival of the most fit. It's like a contest, a lottery. Who's really gonna get her out of the 10 or 20 plus men that are sending her money?
Earnings. This tactic was perfected by ruler Rama V when England and Burma were in conflict. Siam promised logistical support to the British, but in the end didn't deliver. Even so, when England won, Siam quickly aligned itself with the victor. When France declared war on Siam and Siam tried to use its relationship with England as protection, it discovered that the two powers were old allies and ended up being exploited by both. Even so, it was precisely this maneuvering between the British and French that prevented Siam from becoming a mere plaything of the colonial powers. This logic of survival among great powers became a permanent feature of Thailand. In World War II, the country allied with Japan and voluntarily entered the Greater East Asia co-prosperity sphere. Japan was satisfied. At least it had a partner, even if symbolic. But the Japanese never imagined that the Thais were instinctively rebellious.
If you're wondering what these objects are, these are hard drives, or should I say hard disks, that go into the computer, the major storage compartment that pretty much saves everything, and pretty much without this, no computer will run.
The Thai government had declared war on the United States over the radio, and the foreign ministry had prepared the formal declaration. But the Thai ambassador in Washington simply refused to deliver it, declaring himself in dissent with his own government. The Americans were taken aback by the situation. With the war already underway and everyone preoccupied, Thailand got away with it once again. Therefore, Thailand's survival strategy on the international stage is similar to that of Thai sex workers. You're strong, I submit. I cede a piece of myself to please you. But if you ask me to cut ties with my other friends, well, those others also treat me very well, and our relationship is just friendship. When World War II ended and the United States wanted to settle a...
Look at that, look at that, look at that. And it's like the best place you'll see these girls is when you go to the open markets, the street markets. You'll see some nice eye candy there. I'm going to stop it right here. I don't want to make it too long. I try to keep these videos under 10 minutes, but sometimes it's hard. But anyway, shout out to All Asian Dilemmas. You could check out the rest of the video in the description, and I'll catch you in the next video. Goodbye.